And now, the starting lineup of your favorite show. At producer, 5'11" from Blanchester, the Cow Killer, Casey McCollister. And comic engineer, standing at 4'8", the pride of the West Side, Elliot Rearing. And your host, weighing 150 pounds, soaking wet, from Hamilton, Ohio, Ace Fowler.
I am not the host. I do not weigh 150 pounds, soaking wet. I'm Reed Mouse. This is Off the Bench presented by United Dairy Farmers. I've had better days. I've come in here with a more chipper attitude than I have one right now. But you know what? It's Monday. It's June. The Reds are coming off a series win over division rival, my Chicago Cubs. And we have a great show in store for you today. In the room, we got the full crowd back. We got everyone back. Me and Jacob, we went to Danville, Kentucky, the city that never brotherly apples.
Oh!
And we had a fun little 3 days. Jacob, thank you for coming on that board event. I hope you got your Great American Brass Band Festival in.
Saw the greatest live band I've ever seen. No free ads, but the Lucky Chops, man. That crew tears it up.
So the Brass Band Festival was exactly what it sounds like, brass band. Like there was very little singing going on. It was just people playing trumpets and trombones and sousaphones and alto sax and baritone saxophones. It was just that. And this band comes in called the Lucky Chops. And I was wearing socks before they started playing. They rocked them right off. They rocked those socks right off. It was fun. Then we saw them the second time, and morale was low, and that was not as fun. Casey, nice to see you back in the producer. It's good to see you, Casey. You know, whenever I leave town, I miss my dogs, I miss my wife, but I miss you most.
Oh, thank you, Reed. I missed you both very much, you and Jacob, and I appreciate you guys doing that event because, I definitely would have been miserable the entire time. I'm glad you guys enjoyed each other, enjoyed the bands down there. I would have not had a great time.
It was not miserable till Saturday. So we get in there Thursday, we load in, easy load in. Friday was a short day. It was just the afternoon. Saturday started at 9 a. and went until 11 p. That was the schedule of events. Me and Jacob, we were riding high till about 8:30.
Credit to us, honestly.
Right. We were, the morale was high until about 8:30 p. on Saturday, and then we had to drive 3 hours home. So after taking the board, I got up at 8:30. I got over to the event at 8:30. I got home in my bed at 4 a. So it was a 20-hour workday on Saturday into Sunday.
And I had an hour drive home from Hamilton.
And you had that. I think we probably got home about the same time. It took me like 50
yeah.
minutes to put that board away. And then the worst part was the one thing that I have to keep spirits high. The one thing I have is my stupid adult baseball league, and it got canceled Sunday morning. I was so excited. To play, and I got the call 8 a.m. I woke up, 3 hours of sleep, red-eyed, and they said, game's canceled. I said, oh. Then I just worked all day.
Oh, that's brutal.
Elliot, you had a very, very funny video on X.com.
Yeah, well,
yesterday.
Thank you very much. I could only do it if the Reds won the game. So, by the way, I've had that idea for many a weeks. The issue is they hadn't won a lot. I was going to do it after the Dodgers, but unfortunately it came down with an illness, and I was unable to accomplish that task. But I was better yesterday. I was feeling great, and I made the video. I tried my best. Those of you who have known me for a long time now, you know I'm a classically trained singer, so I put that talent to good use yesterday. But it was a good time. Anytime the Reds win now, and again, I kind of said this yesterday, I don't even go for like series wins. I don't care. I don't care about anything. If they win a game, I'm happy. And it is funny because we're going to talk about it here in a second. That series was kind of wild.
It was a wonky series.
It was a wild series. How the Reds won on Friday, how they lost on Saturday, * Sunday morning. It's just everything.
Yesterday's game was pretty just tame.
Normal game.
It was
yesterday.
a normal baseball game.
First two games were kind of crazy though. So, But we'll talk about it here.
Yeah, the one thing that we got, Jimmy, you went up to you visited Culver this weekend?
Yeah, I was in Culver this weekend.
Yeah, fun.
Oh.
Fun. What a nice little town. Still got it's around a lake, right? It's,
Yep.
Yep, in northern. How far is that from South Bend?
An hour.
An hour.
It's an hour south.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You had a good weekend though?
Yeah, it was fun. Saw my
cool.
family, friends. It was a good time.
Were you more excited about the family or the friends?
Ooh, that's a tough question because some of those friends who I used to work with
Who
there,
watches this show?
family.
Okay, so it was family that you
Family for sure, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. There you go, Jimmy. Helping you out.
I'll miss my friends, but family, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Elliot, we got
Yes.
5 minutes left on this first segment. Get us through
We
that.
we got 9 minutes. We're good.
Okay.
The Reds. They've won the rubber match. It's the first rubber match they've won since April. The second series win in their last 3. So how about that?
Don't look
they,
now.
Don't look now. That's right. They sit 2.5 games out of a playoff spot. Nick Lodolo was excellent again, going 6 innings, striking out only 3, but he only allowed 2 runs. TJ Friedl's 3-run home run was the difference if you did not see it. Elly, I'm going to run down some of the offensive players right now, just to give a series recap. We'll start with the good. Fraley was 4 for 7 in Chicago. Spencer Steer 5 for 11. Stephenson 4 for 12. India 3 for 9, 3 walks. Elly. We're not going to get overly concerned about Elly, but this series, he was 0 for 14 with 9 strikeouts. Not great. He leads the league with 82 of them. The Reds are back tonight in Colorado against the Rockies. First pitch at 8:40. Andrew Abbott squares off against Ryan Feltner. Before I move on from the Reds, the Saturday game that was postponed, a couple things there. Horrible by the MLB to postpone it for 3 hours.
Was that a Fox thing? Was it because it was nationally broadcast?
I don't know, but whoever was in charge of that, they should be fired. Because if you're going to postpone it for 3 hours, why would you not wait for the 4th hour and then have both pitchers come out in dry conditions?
From what
And
I was. Go ahead.
Well, instead, they both came out in pouring rain. And it was very clear both pitchers didn't have it because it was legit a monsoon out there.
Yeah, did it randomly just start raining right before first pitch? Is that what happened? Because from what I understood, just once again, I was working, but reading the tweets was that it cleared up, and then right before they announced, hey, we're going to start at this time. Then right before the game started, it started raining again.
That appears to be what happened. But either way, when it starts pouring down rain, you have to stop the game, and it was made clear in the top of the first that the rain was not stopping, and it went all the way until the 3rd inning, I think. The rain did. So you had time to postpone that, and they didn't.
I wonder if they have, because it's in a neighborhood, if they have to be done by certain times and stuff like that.
No way. That can't be a thing because of extra innings of how it used to be, right?
Right.
There's no way.
Well, they don't play a whole lot of night games at Wrigley.
I know, but still, there's no way they'd allow a ballpark to do that. They would. That
Yeah, I
can't
don't
be
know.
a thing.
I don't know.
But either way, absolutely outrageous they allowed it. I did think Suzuki's error, again, very influenced by the rain and the weather and everything that was happening.
Objectively funny.
Very funny. And I knew as soon as he came up to the plate with the bases loaded, he was going to tie the game.
So I get, once again, working. So,
Yeah.
I didn't get to see the air, and I get just a flurry of notifications on X.com, one from our boss, Trace, and I see that Seiya dropped a fly ball. Again, I've made the joke that one of the best moments of last year's Red season happened when they weren't even on the field. It was when the Cubs lost a game, and it ended up not meaning anything anyways. Neither team made the postseason, so what did it mean? And, so he drops that, and I'm now watching the game day, the game day thing on my phone, and I see Seiya's up with the bases juiced, and you know how it says, in play, outs, in play, runs? It just said in play, runs, and you got 10 seconds before it updates to what happened. It said in play, runs, and I'm like, just be a home run. Just be a freaking home run. And then I see Seiya Suzuki hits a grand slam, and I was, oh man, it was great.
Do you think that's the best feeling a player can have in baseball?
Hitting a grand slam?
Hitting a grand slam after giving up 3 runs all by yourself on a routine play.
So that's what baseball sucks at times, is because it's so mental. When you make a mistake on a basketball floor, guess what? You turn the ball over, you got a chance to make up for it 5 seconds later. You can go down to the other end and play great defense. You make an error on the field,
oh, yeah.
you're going to have to sit and wait on that one for about 2 innings. And then you got a 25-30% chance of even coming up like with a way to make up for it. More often than not, you don't get a chance to make up for it. So you just sit there, and it's very, very troublesome. But yeah, I mean, I've never seen something turn around that quickly. Seiya Suzuki's a ball player, and I love him.
Very good. Very good. Around the league, the Dodgers, they shut out the Rockies 4-0. They won the series, so Rockies coming into this series against the Reds with a loss. Yankees, 75 over the Giants. Blake Snell left the game early yet again. He has been injured all season long, and that continues. The Royals, they beat the Padres 4-3. Brewers win 6-3 over the White Sox. Chicago has lost 11 in a row.
It's going to be two terrible teams going at it this week in Chicago because it's North Side versus South Side. So
I didn't send Casey the clip, but Tommy Pham, in his post-game press conference, he called out his third base coach for sending him home to try to. It was a shallow fly ball to left field. They tag him up. They tried to send him. He was out by a mile. He got into a couple words with the Brewers. They get into a little bit of an arguing match. Came out and said he doesn't start it, but he's going to finish any fight that comes his way. So shout out to Tommy Pham.
I got a question.
Just a friendly guy.
Is Tommy Pham a good hang? Would you hang out with Tommy Pham?
No.
He doesn't seem like a good hang,
No.
does he?
I'm not getting on Tommy's bad side.
Doesn't seem like a good hang.
I'm gonna say yes, otherwise I'm gonna get slapped in center.
Yeah,
So,
Well, he does all that fighting in the off season, so
that's true.
Yeah,
There's a lot of it in season too.
And-
dog.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm out on him. Diamondbacks, they take care of the Mets 5-4. I was just taking a peek at rookie Corbin Carroll. He's hitting 190. 190, Corbin Carroll. Sad year for him.
Bad.
still fast though.
Seems like bad. Seems like Jonathan India lasted longer than him. Rangers, they shut out the Marlins 6-0. Tigers, Jimmy, they beat the Red Sox 8-4. Initial thoughts on Spencer Torkelson getting sent down?
Hopefully it works out.
Oh, Torque got sent down.
Oh
Got
yeah,
sent down
it's a mud
yesterday.
hen, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
back
no.
to Toledo. I mean, he had 31 home runs last year. Now he's hitting 201. Like, yeah.
I'm
fair.
a Torque fan.
I
like
he's the
Torque.
second lowest OPS amongst first basemen ever.
Yeah,
his career.
he's
It's in the
also
600s.
he's also one of 4 players ever to hit 30 home runs in a season and have a negative career WAR.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Stats from Jimmy.
Good
Yeah.
for Torque. Good
So,
for Torque.
I hope he gets his confidence back. Hopefully it's just a confidence thing. Otherwise, that was a bad number 1 overall pick. But
I don't know if you've seen that draft from 2020. I don't know any of these players.
yeah,
Literally none of them. I know Reed Detmers. He was drafted 10th.
Yeah, he was a good player.
I know Garrett Crochet at 11. Outside of that, not much. Continuing on here with headlines. Tigers beat the Red Sox 8-4. Cardinals, they beat the Phillies in extras 5-4. Cardinals are red hot. NHL, Oilers,
boo.
they win the series 4-2 over the Dallas Stars.
In hindsight,
They won 2-1 last night on the back of Connor McDavid.
One of the nastiest goals I've ever seen.
It is their first finals berth in almost 2 decades.
in hindsight, I probably should have been a little scared
Yeah.
of Connor McDavid. Did anyone watch the game last night? They
Yeah.
outshot the Oilers
30
like
yeah.
40-10. Like it wasn't close. Like the Stars dominated that game and just lost.
That's
Lost.
tough. That's tough. But our Dallas Stars will be back at it next season.
They're young. They're good.
Yeah. That's right. What are you laughing about?
Our Stars. Are you laughing at our Stars?
I hope not.
Who are you guys rooting for in the finals?
Oh, McJesus needs that ring so we can start the narrative that he's the best player of all
I
time.
want Canada. It's just I want Canada to win.
See, I'm the
last time
opposite.
Canada
I want
won?
the
It's been a
U.S.
while.
It's been a
Like
long time.
long
Like
time.
decades,
Yeah.
right?
That's why I want the U.S. to win, because I think it's just funny.
Very
Canada just
anti-Panthers
can't
after
do
they
it.
massacred my boys. They massacred my blue shirts.
It's objectively funny that Canada, who their sport is hockey, right?
They have 5
They
teams.
love it.
Yeah.
They have a lot of teams. That a team from Orlando, Florida wins the cup would be objectively funny. That would be funny.
That would be very funny. Golf. This is the last headline I have before we get into the rest of the show here. The Canadian Open. The Canadian Open was this weekend. For those who don't watch golf, it's not a big event, but nonetheless, they played it. Robert McIntyre gets the win. He's had 4 different caddies over the last month and has been dealing with homesickness. So what was his answer yesterday or this past weekend? Bring up the dad. His dad was the caddy for this tournament. It was his first ever win on tour. He said after he won that his dad will no longer be caddying. He'll be going back home to celebrate the big victory. There was a cute little video where he paid off the parents' mortgage. Very cool story. The other story from this tournament, I sent it to Casey. CT Pan, he's a golfer. His caddy fell or collapsed, got hurt in one of the rounds this weekend, either Friday or Saturday, and they had to bring in a sub. Who was their sub? Just a random fan. They called this guy over, and he just put on the caddy vest and went to work. Has no affiliation with golf whatsoever.
Looks like he could be related to Frank the Tank.
Or it could be related to Frank the Tank.
Before this round that he caddies here, when do you think the last time this fellow walked a full 18 was?
Oh, 0.
Years?
0.
Yeah, we pushing a decade.
But to be fair, it wasn't the whole 18. It was just a couple of holes.
Okay.
It wasn't everything.
Good for him.
So he was just there to help the cause. But that's it for headlines, and we will be right back on ESPN 1410 Wing AM, home of the best sports coverage in the Miami Valley.
And we are back on Off the Bench presented by United Dairy Farmers. Correction, they're from Miami, not Orlando. That's on me. I make a lot of mistakes. Everyone does. Everyone does. But the Cincinnati Reds only made one mistake in 3 tries this weekend. They won a series over the Chicago Cubs, 2 of 3. Everyone let me know. I don't know if you guys follow me on Twitter, but so once again, we were working down this weekend, and I get a text from my friend after the Reds win the first game of the series. He went out and bought an L flag, because I wave a W flag outside my house.
Love that.
Went out and bought an L flag, and I mean, I don't know if he was just waiting for the game to end outside my house, but the second that the game was over, he sent a picture outside my house with the flag in there, which is a great bit. That's very funny. I can't even get mad about that. That's very, very funny. So shout out to my buddy Crecky for doing that one. But Cincinnati Reds, are they back, Elliot? Are they back?
The offense appears to be back. They appear to be definitely improving at the plate, and that's all I can really ask for. I know the Saturday game has a little bit of an asterisk because 3 of those runs probably shouldn't have counted, but they've scored 5 in 3 straight games. They've scored 5 in 3 straight games. I'm going to say they're not back, but they're competitive right now, and that's what I asked for at the beginning of the year. I didn't ask for a lot. I asked for competitive baseball. I asked to be in it in September. The previous month was tough to watch because that's not what they were. They were struggling all over the field, but they've gotten better. They've gotten better at the plate. There's more guys I can trust when they step up to the plate right now than there were 3 weeks ago. So, yeah, I'm going to say they're a little bit back. I said it last week after they lost to the Cardinals. I said it on Thursday. Shout out to my one day. They are who we are. They are who they are. We can't change them. They're not going to probably get a whole lot better than this. 2.5 out of the wild card is about as good as we can hope for in June, I would say.
Yeah, listen, the Reds, I think Luke Brenneman brought this up on Down In. I thought it was a great point. He said almost everything that could go wrong has gone wrong since the start of spring training. Players getting hurt, terrible month of May, all these things where this team hasn't been the complete team that they expected them to be. And all that being said, here they are coming off one of the worst months in franchise history, and they're 3 games out from a playoff spot. Now there's plenty of baseball to go. And also, if it's fair to bring up that the Reds aren't the only team that's playing bad. So if you can anticipate that a team's going to play better, right? Like the Reds can't play this bad for so long. You can say the same thing for a lot of teams. Like, do we expect the Diamondbacks to be bad for the entire year? Maybe, but I don't think anybody saw that one coming. The Cubs, the Giants, the Pirates, who have a lot of young talent. Like, are all these teams this bad? Like, is it going to still be 79 wins, gets you into the postseason? Probably not. But that is, a light at the end of the tunnel. And where everything has gone wrong, this team's still only 3 spots out from a playoff spot. And that's worth getting at least a little excited about, no?
Yeah. And you brought it up before the show, too. We haven't really played a ton of divisional games this season yet. So that stretch is coming. And during that stretch is going to be very important for the Reds to at least maintain that 500 mark. So we can stay alive. I think that's the biggest key. The division, by all means, is not great. I think the Brewers are a very good baseball team, and I can try to deny them every single year. But at some point, you are there too. So the Brewers are damn good. But outside of the Brewers, I would say this division is not great. But that means it's competitive. That means there's going to be a lot of close games, a lot of fun games. Take as many of those as you can. If you can win the divisional games, that's the solace, as Trace would like to say, I can find in this season. Try to take care of business against the Cardinals. Try to bounce back against the Pirates this season. And we can hopefully find our way at maybe maybe a wild card. Maybe. I'm still. It's too early for me to just say, yeah, they're in the playoff spot. Like Jacob told me, the Cardinals have a playoff spot right now. So it's like that doesn't really matter to me. Just be in contention to be in contention. Right now, that's what they are.
My being back in on the Reds is a lot different right now than it was after the Dodgers series. After we swept the Dodgers, I was back in because I thought the team was maybe a little bit better. I was starting to get a little excited, talking myself into it. But beating the Cubs like that and then looking at the standings, the National League is bad. The National League is playing really bad baseball right now. And like Reed said, you can't expect every team to be this bad the rest of the season. You also can't expect the Reds to be this bad the rest of the season. We're going to get a great infusion of talent here soon with McLean coming back hopefully in August, Marte back by the end of this month. CES probably under a month now until he comes back. So I'm really excited about the way this team's going, and it's less to do with how they're playing and more with just everything happening around them.
But I didn't realize this. There are 5 teams in the National League right now who, in their last 10, have a winning record. 5 teams. 3 of those are in the NL Central.
It's wild right now. You mentioned the Cardinals are in a playoff spot. I think the Cubs, despite having, I think they had the exact same month of May as the White Sox. Like, I think they won as many games.
Yeah.
And they're 2 games under 500, whatever they were. They were in a playoff spot before the Cardinals won yesterday. Like, the Cubs were still in it's wild. And I think we all agree that I don't think there's ever been an MLB team that has made the postseason under 500. I think that has never happened, and I don't anticipate it to happen. At some point it will, but I don't think it's going to be this year. But listen, they're 3 games out. I think it's 17 of their next 25 games are against NL Central opponents. So to be good, you got to take care of the teams in your division, and that's where the Reds have the opportunity looking forward. That's what they have. They're playing objectively better baseball than they were 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. Like, they look like all the pieces are somewhat coming there. They're getting jolts of energy. TJ Friedl with the big home run yesterday. Even when their best player, Elly De La Cruz, isn't playing well, which he's not right now at the plate, they're finding ways to win. And that's important. We knew that the one-run games were going to flip back the other way. We know that. That's just what happens. Sometimes, last year, the Miami Marlins, 20 games over 500 in one-run games. This year, not very good. They're not very good. The Reds started, 1-10?
Yeah.
1-10 in one-run games? That's going to flip back. That will flip back. And you'll see it. You'll see it happen going forward. This Reds team has a lot to be excited about. The question, and I don't want to dive into this too much, but, what does this team do in the middle of July if they're kind of still sitting in that situation where they're hovering around 500? There's a lot of teams hovering around 500 that look to get that third spot, but the Reds are on the bottom of that tier where they're at right now, right? There's 6-7 teams vying for that third spot. What happens if the Reds are there? I don't want to get into that today, but that is something that we will get into at some point on this show in the coming weeks. I guess I'll ask this. Are we worried? I know Kirby and Craig put out that clip about the one rule watching Cincinnati Reds this year is do not worry about Elly De La Cruz. And Elly De La Cruz is by far the best player on this team. And I think any notion that he's going to get sent down or anything like that is just buffoonery. But are you worried about the recent struggles of Elly De La Cruz, Elliot and Jacob?
I'm not worried about it long term. I would say that if he continues to slip, slide, and away here, yeah, I'm going to be a little frustrated. I'm going to be a little concerned just because you'd like to see more growth and development. Saying all that, I do agree with Kirby that he's a kid. He is a kid. I make fun of the youth thing, that they're all little baby boys. But saying that, yeah, he is a very young baseball player trying to figure out his major league career. He has yet to play a full season in the big leagues. So as all of these slumps continue, it's just him trying to figure a way out of it. And we will continue to do that. I'm not worried about Elly De La Cruz in the long term. But I will say the strikeout numbers will always be concerning to me because it just seemed, especially yesterday, watching those at-bats, he wasn't there. He didn't have it yesterday. And I don't know if you can give him a break because you need him. Even when he's 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts, you still need him in the off chance one of those strikeouts goes to the back of goes to the backstop and he somehow gets to first so he can steal second and third. That's how important he is to the team. So am I concerned long term? Absolutely not. Am I concerned right now? Yeah, a little bit. I think he does have a little bit. And again, I'm not comparing him to this player, but he's got a little bit of the Jay Bruce effect where when he's in a slump, it's not there. It's not even close. And right now he's in that slump. Again, 0 for 14, 9 strikeouts. You can't look at that and say good series. That's an objectively horrible series by Elly De La Cruz. And I know what he does. He pretty much won the game for us on Friday with an incredible throw. Shout out Hurtubise as well. Jimmy's guy, Jacob Hurtubise. So what all of what Elly can do, you still need him. If he's 0 for 50 at the plate, you still need him on the plate. You still need him at shortstop, and you still need him on the base path. That's how important that guy is. So, no, I'm not worried about him long term. I am a little bit concerned right now.
I think a lot of the concerns are just, gas is being poured on the fire with how the Reds aren't winning games. If the rest of the lineup was playing a little bit better, you wouldn't have as many eyes on Elly. You wouldn't be as concerned with these numbers. But like Elliot said, he went 0 for 14 with 9 strikeouts in this series. And we don't win the series if he's not in the lineup, even without getting a single hit.
That's
so
crazy.
It's impossible for me to be concerned about him. He's 22. It's his first full season. He's still making a massive difference affecting wins and losses when he's not hitting the ball. And he's still hitting fairly well on the year. He still has some pretty good numbers on the year because he started off so hot. So, I'm not concerned about Elly. I think this is going to be the player he is, if not for his entire career, at least for a couple of years longer with insane peaks, higher peaks than maybe anyone else in the entire league. And then you're going to see these slumps. And I don't think the strikeout numbers are going to go away anytime soon. I think that's kind of just the player he is. But I think we're going to see the home runs come back soon. He hasn't hit a home run in a long time. I think that stuff will bounce back as well. So, no, I'm not worried about him. He has about a month stretch like this, it seems, every 2 months or so. So,
what would your ideal average in OBP be to end the year for Elly? Because I think my number, if he hits like 270 with a 350 OBP, I'm very happy, and that's not even including this.
That's great.
That's not including the steals or
I'm
whatever.
even lower than that.
I'm
even lower than that.
incredible.
Let's say you could push 250.
If he's high 240s, if he's in the 240s with an OBP 330-ish,
right.
I'm all the way in. That's a great season. We saw last year. Last year and even the beginning of this year, people were talking about sending him down. We were worried about him at the plate. We thought he couldn't face Major League pitching, and now we're talking about just maybe being okay with him hitting 250. Like, that shows you exactly how far he's come. Again, at age 22, in his first full season, with almost no protection in the lineup. He's the best player, the most recognizable name in that lineup every single night, even when he's 0 for 14 with 9 Ks. Pitchers are worried about facing him. You can see it get in their head that they're not comfortable on the mound going against him. So, I'm really not worried about Elly.
So if the season ended today, you'd be happy with it?
Yeah,
I'd be happy with what Elly.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
He's
230 and a
he's
330 OBP.
And the thing is, and this is where numbers don't do Elly De La Cruz justice. Like, his on base percentage, not everyone's on base percentage is created equal. Because when Elly De La Cruz gets on base, he's gonna get in scoring position.
Yeah,
he's going to. He gets on first base, like, you might as well just up his slugging percentage numbers, because he gets on first base, he's gonna get in scoring position for your team. Leads the league, 10 more stolen bases than the next guy? Don't be worried about Elly. He's gonna continue to do this. The number, I think, if he hits 270, 350, like you suggested, he's a bona fide MVP candidate, like top 5 in votes for what he does on the field. Even when he's slumping, he's the Reds' best player because of the things he does defensively. Because when he does get on base, he gets in scoring position. Because he's in the mind of other pitchers, of other teams. They got to worry about Elly. He's the best player on the field by far. So, don't be worried. We got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to still talk about the Cincinnati Reds and their win over the Cubs this series, and Can they get back into around 500? Can they? I don't know. That and more when we come back on 1410 Wing AM. We are back on the home for sports in the Miami Valley, 1410 Wing AM. It's Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers. So we teased a big announcement. We're actually going to make that tomorrow. We're going to make that big announcement tomorrow, but I think you guys are really going to enjoy that. But we're talking Cincinnati Reds right now. One player that had a fantastic game yesterday was a starting pitcher, lefty Nick Lodolo. And I was going to ask this. Jacob asked me a question. Are you Hunter Green's the ace or Nick Lodolo's the ace? I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters who the ace is. These are arbitrary things that we talk about. Who's pitching well. But when Lodolo's out on the bump, he's a stud. He's fun to watch. He truly is. There's some pitchers that it just looks prettier. Nick Lodolo is one of them. Graham Ashcraft is not one of them. But Nick Lodolo has continued since his injury to pitch pretty well. Are you guys excited about what you're seeing from the southpaw?
Yeah, I think Nick Lodolo is the ace. I know we don't want to use the term, but he's the ace. If he's healthy, if he's able to play, if the Reds were in a playoff game, I would choose Nick Lodolo to be out there in Game 1. I think most fans are probably under that same umbrella. We talk about a pitcher having great stuff. I don't think any starting pitcher has the stuff Nick Lodolo has. Graham Ashcraft, he's our workhorse. He tries really, really hard. We have Hunter Green, who, again, 103-mile-per-hour fastball consistently. Andrew Abbott's got pretty decent stuff. He's a great contact pitcher. He's done great this season. Frankie Montas, he's there too. Saying all that, without question, it's Nick Lodolo for me, and I think everybody would agree. As long as Evan Mauer's prediction that he remains healthy, yeah, he's our guy. And I think that's a big first step for this team this year. We needed him to be healthy. You needed Hunter Green to be healthy. You needed them to take a step in that direction, and knock on wood, they've been that for the most part to start this season. I know Frankie lost a little bit due to a comebacker, and Nick Lodolo missed, I think, 2 starts. I think that was more to rest than anything. But yeah, this starting rotation in general, I've been incredibly impressed with. And Nick Lodolo specifically, coming back immediately from that IL stint, I think he's gone like almost 12 innings, and he's allowed like 3 runs. So absolutely phenomenal baseball from Nick Lodolo to start this season.
46 1/3 innings pitched, a whip under 1, .993. That's getting it done. Nick Lodolo, you got to be encouraged by what you're seeing from him.
I absolutely love Nick Lodolo. I always have. Loved him coming out of TCU. Thought it was a great pick. Obviously, the injuries have been the big concern, as it has been with basically the entire Reds pitching staff. But yeah, he's been very, very good this year, and I still think that little IL stint might have just been for rest. The way he's come back and just been burning it down.
So.
But I do personally still think Hunter Green is the ace. Obviously, a little bit of a blow-up game on Saturday, but like we talked about earlier, terrible conditions.
Not his fault at all.
Justin Steele, who's one of the best pitchers in the league, doesn't walk anyone. Walked 4 guys and hit 1. So yeah, I mean, I'm not too worried about Hunter Green at all after that one game. He was on a tear before that. One of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball over the month before that. So I still do think Hunter Green is the ace, because I think the ace is more or less semantics, and he's the biggest name on the Reds pitching staff as long as he's on the pitching staff. So I do think he is the ace, but if Nick Lodolo is the 2, then you're in a damn good spot. So yeah, I love where the Reds are going, and Brandon Williamson pitching real well in AAA. He's coming up soon, so a 3-lefty rotation seemingly on the near horizon for the Reds. I'm really, really excited for the way this pitching staff
Who do you think – because I've wanted Brandon Williamson up. I wanted him up to start the year. I know he wasn't ready. He was injured. But I think that it's time for
the
one
Bulldogs
of them
going to the pen.
I was about to ask you that. I think it's time for Graham Ashcraft to go to the bullpen. I don't think it's his fault. I think he's a really good pitcher. I just think it's evident that when he's out there and he's starting, it's hard to get 5 innings out of him. It's difficult. He makes that, maybe it's him, but I could see him being a long reliever type, similarly to Nick Martinez. He comes in 2-3 innings at a time, not every day, not every 5th start. I think that could be beneficial for Graham, and it helps us out too, because I think Brandon Williamson has disgusting stuff.
I'm super high on Brandon Williamson. That was one of the main things that me and Evan Mauer bonded over when we met for the first time, is that we were both high on Brandon Williamson. when most of the Reds fan base was not. So, yeah, I'm excited for him to come up, and I think you're absolutely right that Ashcraft's going to the pen. That kind of seems like where he belongs. He doesn't really have the stuff to be a starting pitcher. Like we said, if the best thing about a pitcher is that he tries hard, maybe that's not the greatest co-sign for the guy. But look, I love Graham Ashcraft. I think he can still be a big part of this team when we're playing winning baseball. I just think that's going to be in the bullpen.
When Nick Lodolo pitches, it truly looks like art. When Graham Ashcraft pitches, it looks like a workout. Like it looks like he's trying so hard. Here's the thing that, and it's not what you guys were talking about, but it's about Hunter Green, and I brought this up to Jacob, is all the Hunter Green haters in Cincinnati Reds Twitter, and once again, everything that I see is from the periphery because I'm not involved in Cincinnati Reds Twitter. But I do catch things from it. Everyone that hates on Hunter Green says the same thing. Never makes it deep into the game, right? Oh, he's going to throw 120 pitches before the fourth inning. That's our guy. That's our ace, Hunter Green. All the jokes that you've heard before. When he's consistently getting you through 6, when he's consistently going deep into games, what else do you have to make fun about Hunter Green? If Elly De La Cruz ever cuts down on the strikeouts, what do you have to make fun of Elly De La Cruz? And I guess the point is that haters are going to hate regardless. But I am interested to see what people say about Hunter Green if he consistently gets deep into the games. Because that was the joke, right? He doesn't get deep, and then here we go. He's made it deeper than every pitcher in the rotation this year. I've got the stats in front of me. He's thrown the most innings. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting about.
It was 6 straight. It was 6 straight starts by Hunter Green without allowing more than 3 runs. So basically, quality starts. I know 2 of those he went only 5 innings or 5 1/3 innings, but quality starts essentially for the past 6 starts and really for the entire year. He's had 2 bad games this year.
Well, that 5 earned run game, he left the game tied.
Yeah,
he left the game with the team, giving the team an incredible chance to win the game.
He gave up 3 hits. One of them was a grand slam, and again, not to quote Brandon Williamson, but we'll quote him here, in pissing rain conditions. So, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and blame Hunter Green. Anybody who looks at that contract right now and says that wasn't objectively one of the greatest contracts we've signed over the past 10 years, you haven't been paying attention. That was a brilliant deal. A brilliant deal. I know I worked at that radio station, and all I got were calls. Why are we paying Hunter Green? Why are we paying Hunter Green?
Paying him $9 million.
You're paying him $9 million. I don't know what the league average for a starting pitcher is, but it's right.
Less than that.
What, $9 million, $10 million?
No, it's probably less than
league
that.
average would be less than that, but for a good starting pitcher, it's certainly not $9 million. We're sitting here legitimately debating whether or not he's the ace of a team that we think, when healthy with a full roster, is certainly a playoff team and can maybe even compete for a pennant. So, I think Hunter Green for $8.5, $9 million is just an unbelievable deal. It's a bargain that you're going to have for years to come.
Yeah, and again, Reed kind of mentioned it earlier. Whether or not you want to use the term ace for either him or Lodolo, having them both healthy and ready to go, 1-2, it's one of the best 2 starting pitchers combos in baseball right now. You'll be hard pressed to find 10 better 1-2 punches in Major League Baseball in terms of starting pitchers.
It's certainly legit. Listen, I think the entire National League Central is shaping up. Besides the Cardinals, they got older arms, but besides the Cardinals, every team is shaping up to have some dudes coming and starting games. Obviously, the Brewers with their crew, all those guys are getting a little older. Jared Jones, Paul Skeens, if that doesn't scare you as an NL Central fan, because that's going to be a crew to be reckoned with for the time to go. And then my Cubs have Shota, they have Justin Steele. James Italian, I know he's older, but he's been pitching pretty well. Like, the NL Central is, I think, for as bad as it has been, I think it's in a really good spot going forward. But yeah, $9 million for Hunter Green. I just looked it up. The Cubs have 4 starting pitchers making more money than that. And that's
crazy.
The Cubs. That's the Reds' ace right there. $9 million. Yeah, it seems incredibly unlikely that deal doesn't meet its value.
No.
Almost borderline impossible at this point. I mean, he'd have to legitimately not play, like get hurt consistently for that money to not make sense.
I agree 100%. I looking back at the series too, as we wind down the segment here, I did think it was wild. I know you guys weren't able to see it. Elly De La Cruz was called out. They reviewed a play. He stole third, or he took third base, I guess I should say. and he overslid the bag, I guess, a little bit by like a second.
Yeah.
They called him out. The challenge was, inconclusive. You couldn't outwardly say that he was out. I thought that was another wild thing that happened this series.
It was a weird series. It was a weird series.
But
that rule, what's your take on that rule?
the overslide,
Yeah.
I do think if you get to the base first, I think you're safe. I think there's a statute of limitations on it, because I think if you slide so far out of the way and you can't just like tag it and then roll off
circle around the base.
Yeah,
type of thing.
but if you're there and the spirit of the play is you just hovering over the base while your foot then goes back onto the base as you stay mostly on it, I think you're safe.
It's such a weird thing, because I agree with you guys. Because Trace has been on this take for a while. I even was watching Chatterbox Reds, and he was talking about it. That it feels disingenuous to the spirit of the rule that when you just come off the bag slightly, right, you just see a little bit of daylight in the frame-by-frame instant replay that you're out. Because by the letter of the law, you are out. Like, you are, you cannot be tagged out when you're on the base. You're off the base. No point of your body is contacted it. But, if you grow up playing baseball, umpires are almost taught, like, hey, they give the reward to who made the better play. Did the throw beat the runner? That's the phrase. Did the throw beat the runner? And, well, that's not a way to judge everything. We do have instant replay. I just don't know how you would police it. I agree that it feels a little disingenuous to the spirit of the play that, he slides in safe and he does a pop-up slide, and when he pops up, his foot comes off the bag by an inch.
Yeah.
Right, and you kept the tag on him, and now he's out because he wasn't making any contact with the base. I do agree that feels I just don't know how you police it, right? To where like everywhere, it's a cone above an imaginary cone.
It wouldn't be like the first subjective rule to baseball though, because they have that rule where first base, if you run past first and then you make a little hezzy, like you're going to second, you're technically in play. That's you're now entering the field of play.
Right.
Whether or not that you classify that or whatever, like maybe it was a twitch this way.
That's not really.
That's subjective though.
Is it like more often than not you have to turn, right? You have to make an effort towards second base. That's not but there are subjective things like a balk, right?
Yeah.
A balk, like no one can really frame what a balk. To be honest, we kind of really don't even know what a strike zone is.
Yeah.
Like there's the letter of the law, but it's not really that. It is, but it just seems really hard to police to me. It seems, and maybe that's why they're so slow to change it. It's because it is hard to police. Like, how do you just teach everyone, hey, you got to stay on the freaking back? I don't know.
And he was safe by a mile too. Like that's the other part of it where third base. Who's third base for the Cubs right now?
I don't know who played that
game.
Neither
do I. Anyway, nonetheless, the guy had it in his glove up here. Elly was already on the base.
Was
down
it
there.
Magical?
Maybe, I don't know.
Magical, Morel, Wisdom.
It wasn't Morel.
It wasn't Morel?
No.
Okay.
Either way, Elly made it by a good second and a half before the guy reached down to then tag Elly, who had by then, with all the momentum and speed, was a half second over the base. So, yeah, I don't know how you police it. I just think it does probably need to be looked at. Maybe the bigger bases thing. Maybe you puff them up a little bit.
Yeah, maybe that's the whole point of the bigger bases. Because me and Jacob were actually talking about, because we saw some college leagues do this, having the second base on first. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like, obviously, kids leagues have done this for a long time. And I told Jacob that I think it's an inevitability. And he told me the only reason he doesn't want it is because it looks ugly. Does look a little ugly, but I don't see a con to having a second base, right? You just completely ignore injuries, any contact there at first base. But do you think that'll become a thing in the MLB? And do you want it to be a thing? Anyone? Elliot?
I kind of agree with Jacob. It would look pretty weird.
I'm not going to act like there's a better reason than that. But I hate the way it looks.
It doesn't need to be a big bright orange bag. Let's put it that, because that's what it's always been.
Yeah.
It could be a double white bag. Well, I guess you have to differentiate or make it different, because then the first baseman, like, can he step on that bag too? See, these are all questions
right.
I just genuinely
don't.
I don't know. I don't know, but I think it's an inevitability. I think it's fine. I think you'd get over it. Like I always say with rules, you can get a big uproar about it. You'll get over it.
It's like
quickly.
the pitch clock. Like,
right.
I remember when the pitch clock came out, and I was like, oh, that's not baseball. Like, that's gonna be weird. But I love it now.
Every rule,
Yeah.
almost every single rule that we complain about,
Yep.
at some point, like very quickly, we get over it. The one that actually people haven't gotten over is the Manfred runner, but I think it's because we don't see it a whole lot. I like it.
I still love it.
It's so annoying when you lose, though.
I don't think
I like it. I think extra innings are boring. I think they're boring before the Manfred runner. Legitimately, I thought they were boring. How many times have you seen an extra inning games go 3 innings in the extras and we're not even seeing a base runner?
The biggest gripe with it is, quote, it's not baseball. But then at the same time, if you go 17 innings and you got your backup catcher throwing pitches,
right,
that's also not baseball. So
true.
what have we really accomplished here?
Every sport changes the way it's played in the extra time, right?
Yeah.
And basketball maybe is the exception, but they shrink it down. They shrink it down to a shorter amount of time. They don't just full-blown play. Football, they change the rules so they have walk-offs.
Yeah.
And in college football, they start at the 25-yard line to, induce scoring.
True.
Beside the point. We'll get back in just a moment here on 1410 Wing AM. We are back here on Off the Bench. Presented by United Dairy Farmers, Reed Mouse, Casey McAllister, Elliot Rearing, Jimmy Collins, Jacob Tissett. The whole cast is here today. Thank you, by the way, Elliot. Me and Jacob, I was running around. Jacob was on the show. Thank you Thursday. I know you came in sick as a dog. I'm glad you feel better. You look better.
I feel better today. I feel a lot better today. I'm still a little congested, a little nasally, but other than that, I feel great. I feel like I'm on top of the world. Thursday, I thought I could do it. I texted you Wednesday night. I'm like, I think I can do it. And then I got in here, and it was evident I couldn't do it. I was lightheaded every time I spoke. So
we were dealt a bad hand for Thursday because I had to get things ready.
Yeah.
And you were sick as a dog, and I think the Reds had lost the night before, so it was just
bad.
It was not good. We were dealt a bad hand.
Yeah, that was bad. But listen, we're through it. We're through it, baby. That's sickness. You just get through it, and you fight your way to the next day. But that's it. We also have. So I didn't do every headline, and I guess we'll kind of transition that now.
Okay.
Because breaking news, the Vikings and wide receiver Justin Jefferson have reached an agreement on a 4-year, $140 million contract extension that includes $110 million guaranteed. This makes him the highest paid wide receiver in NFL history and the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history.
What's interesting about this deal, because it's for about, $35 a year? $35 a year. Is we all knew that it was going to be this much money.
Yeah.
We all kind of knew that. It's going to be 30 plus 35. That's what we're looking at. But then you see the headline, then you see it happen, and you almost don't believe it. $35 million for a wide receiver? It almost doesn't make sense. But that's the league where we're at. So the question is, what does this mean for the National Football League? What does this mean for wide? Because we're seeing wide receivers balloon up everywhere. From the year 2000 to 2019, the hardest position to draft, and they did this, they did the percentage on if the player gets a second contract with the team he was drafted with. The hardest position to draft was wide receiver. The second hardest was tight end. Pass catchers were hard to come by. But now we're looking at almost like it's flopped. Go look at every first round from 2020 to today. And go look at how the wide receivers have panned out. We've done this exercise on this show. We've brought this up to where it is the talent's coming out high. But at the same time, we're seeing wide receivers get record deals. We know how important the pass game is. The game has changed the rules so that offense wins. The NFL has changed the rules so that offense has become the majority of the success in the league. Quarterbacks, more important than ever. Now wide receivers are getting paid to be the second highest paid guys on the field. So the question is, and I'll toss this over to Casey, Jacob, the NFL guys in the room. It's shocking, $35 million. Does it have a major impact on the sport, do you think? Do you think that this is just the way that contracts are going to continue to go? What does this mean for the NFL, essentially?
I think we're going to see wide receiver contracts take a massive step back after this group. We're going to see Jamar get one right up there with 35 with Justin Jefferson, I think. But if you look at this last draft class, 11 wide receivers went in the top 100 picks.
Yep.
Marvin Harrison went for the number one wide receiver off the board. He's making $35 million for his whole rookie contract for 4 years. Justin Jefferson's making $35 million just this year. If you don't have a superstar quarterback, you need a rookie quarterback in order to sign these guys. And unless you have a superstar like Joe Burrow and a superstar like Jamar Chase, you can't rationalize paying them both that top money. That's 85, maybe $90 million to two players when the salary cap's just about 250. You're paying almost half your salary cap to, if you get, talking about T. Higgins, he's going to push 30 now with something like this.
Yeah.
I think you're talking about over $100 million, maybe pushing $150 million with a handful of guys on the offense, which is just not a sustainable way to run a team. I think the Dolphins are running into something now with those two guys paid. They haven't extended Tua yet. We'll see what happens with Philadelphia having already locked up all three guys on their offense. But I think we're going to see teams that are in the position that the Bengals are in, the Dolphins are in, I guess that the Vikings think that they're in, put all the chips in on this roster. And if these teams paying these wide receivers massive contracts don't come out of it with rings, plural, I think it's going to take a massive step back quickly.
The Vikings are in a different spot because they have a quarterback that just started the clock on 5 years, right? They just started with JJ, so they're like, hey, we'll give a guy extra money. Obviously, the Bengals are in a different spot. It is, and we've talked about this at length on this show already, not just today, but in weeks prior. When does the buck stop? When does the buck stop when it comes to the wide receiver market? We're seeing guys getting ludicrous money before this season at the same time that talent is coming in through the draft at a rate we've never seen. It seems like there's a bubble. It seems like there's a contract bubble. How does it make sense that guys are getting record deals when teams are almost every single one drafting a guy in the first round and he turns out to be a great player? What happens there? And with the Cincinnati Bengals, we know Jamar is going to get paid. We kind of figured that he was going to get paid after JJ. We kind of figured that they were going to wait for JJ to make the deal and then Jamar was going to get a little more money. So now the Bengals are going to have the top quarterback in the league. They're going to have the top paid wide receiver in the league. It truly is interesting to see how this affects the NFL. It truly is interesting to see how teams go about their wide receivers because they've been the big key to success. Guys to throw to. The Bengals started a trend themselves, right? Draft a quarterback. Yeah, you have other needs on the team. But go get the wide receiver. Go pair somebody up. Go get that so that they have a guy to throw to, and you put your quarterback in a good position to win. Casey, do you think this strongly affects how NFL does their salaries going forward?
This deal itself, Justin Jefferson deserved that type of contract, right? He's the number one receiver in the NFL, and I don't think anyone here would argue against that. You could make a case for Jamar Chase, but when we kind of did the mental math here, not very good mental math here, we kind of decided that the league would probably pick Justin Jefferson over Jamar Chase, a 60-40, 70-30 type of range, just because of how dynamic he's been, what he's been able to do on the field. Personally, I don't know if this makes a big difference for receivers because I think he is the top of the market. I don't think it's going to get much higher than this. I would be shocked if Jamar Chase got like 37 a year or 36 even. That would shock me. Really? I think he gets barely over Justin Jefferson. Like they'll do like the exact same, like $1 million extra, if that. And
gets $1 extra.
Right, $1 extra. That being said, I was looking at guys that were coming up for contract extensions, especially for like 2025. There's not really that level, that tier of player that I'm like, oh yeah, they're going to get that 33, 34.
Guys like Michael Pittman are getting 27 or whatever it is, right?
CeeDee Lamb is still out there. Him and Jamar, I think by week one, we'll have Justin Jefferson at third, if I had to guess.
Really? That's crazy.
That blows me away. I just can't see that happening, to be honest.
I agree. I mean, it's so far,
But did we see Jared Goff getting 53?
53, yeah. Justin Herbert got 52 without winning a playoff game.
Right. Contracts are going to continue to go up. We know this. And it's honestly, if you got an elite guy at quarterback, that's a safe investment. Give him the money that he wants. As bad as that is, right? But wide receivers are it's going to be very, very interesting to see if there truly is a bubble. To see if you can go without paying guys. And once again, I'm not insinuating. I have this opinion that it's probably safer money-wise if you are constrained on a budget, if you do have short salary cap money, to just go and draft a guy and don't pay the wide receiver based on the fact that the last 5 drafts have seen the best wide receiver talent we've ever seen in the league. I have that opinion while also saying Jamar Chase needs to be paid the second or the best, highest paid wide receiver in the league. Those don't make sense. That's an oxymoron. But here we are to where I'm just so intrigued to see where this league goes. I'm so intrigued to see where this market goes. We've made the analogy to where you're selling your house and you see one sell for $100,000 more than you thought it was worth, and now everyone in the neighborhood wants to sell their house for that same money. And all it takes is for one seller to sell it for $100,000 under what it's worth, and now it's just the market's gone back down. That's all it takes is you need one wide receiver to go way under the asking price, to go way under. You need the Jamar Chases of the world to take $25 million, which won't happen. Don't get your hopes up for that. It's not going to happen. To send it all back the other way. You need one quarterback, one elite quarterback to take $40 million to send it right back the other way. The salary cap's going to continue to go up. Contracts are going to continue to go up. And I do believe that, at least on the quarterback side, that if the guy's elite, it'll look like a sweetheart deal at the end of it. Patrick Mahomes signed the $500 million deal, whatever it was, with the Kansas City Chiefs 4 years ago, and that's looking like a sweetheart deal. Now they restructure it. They keep restructuring it. But it looks like a pretty good deal. And I hold that if he stays on the field, Joe Burrow's contract is going to look like a sweetheart deal at the end.
Jacob said that you would think that there's a drop-off after the next 2 receivers sign. That would be CD and Jamar. I disagree. I think
I concur.
I think the NFL right now, it's making more money than it's ever made. It runs sports in America. It runs sports in America. It runs the sports networks. It runs everything. We're talking about the NFL on June 3rd. Not an NFL game in sight. It's because one of the best receivers, one of the stars of the league, signed a mega deal. It's about having that star factor. I think in the NFL, defensive guys, unfortunately, and this is just the perception of it, the cornerbacks, some of the safeties, not all of the fans know those players, but every player knows their every fan knows their star wide receiver. Whether that be Michael Pittman, whether that be Jalen Waddle, it doesn't matter who they are. Those are the jerseys fans are getting. That's who you're playing with in Madden. And that's why you're paying that guy. That's why you're giving him that extra money. Justin Jefferson is without a shadow of a doubt. Casey was saying there's a chance you can make an argument for Jamar. I don't think there's an argument to be made. I think Justin Jefferson is so much better, so farther ahead of Jamar Chase. And I think Jamar Chase is a great receiver. But that's just how good he is. And when you have a guy like that, you pay him. And it doesn't matter how much you pay him. You just have to keep him on your roster.
Well, that's the whole thing with Jamar is that I say, like, while I also anticipate that there will be a bubble when it comes to these wide receiver contracts, that you'd be better off drafting guys high in the draft than paying a guy $30 million to play wide receiver. I also look at Jamar Chase and I can't imagine this team without him. You got to pay him. It's a no-brainer. But to be fair about what you said about the take about jersey sales, these are the guys that people wear. A lot of Unos when you go to Paycor Stadium. You know what jersey you also saw a lot of? 28. Saw a lot of Joe Mixon jerseys. They score the most touchdowns on the field. And those guys don't get paid. So, Casey?
Yeah. One of the things that also we have to kind of take in consideration with this is that it's an extension. It's not necessarily a full-on 4-year it is the 4 years 140, but it's being tacked on with this extra year. So they can spread out the cap hits a little easier than just flat out saying it's 35 per year. When it comes to like Jamar Chase, if they did it this year, that's 2 years that they get to spread out $140 million, adding on those extra 3 years. So to me, it's like, will we see a guy get a contract that's actually 4 years, 35 per year? I don't think so. I don't think we'll see a guy that gets that, like, the average per year as high as it is right now.
Yep.
Justin Jefferson getting this contract is the top of the bar. Like, I don't see how this affects T. Higgins, because we already know, like, where T. Higgins slots at with the rest of the league. It's where the guys like Jalen Waddle, that
Right.
contract affected him more than this does. This only affects really Jamar Chase, and that's it. There's no other guy in the top of this league that it really affects. Right. Now, you're thinking about roster construction. Do you even pay a guy like Jamar Chase? I could bring that up. Maybe I'd rather go get 2 guys for the price of 1. I think that'd be silly, but you can make that argument. There's teams that have done that, like the Kansas City Chiefs,
Right.
and they've still won Super Bowls. So, I mean, I don't know if this will, getting it to a Cincinnati perspective, if this will really do anything, because I think we were all expecting Jamar Chase to get the similar type numbers.
Correct.
It's just a matter of, can they get a deal done now? Now that that Justin's got his deal done, can we somehow make it easier on us, get it done now, spread out the cap hits, and go from there? Or can we maybe get a little less money? I doubt that, but
I'll end this segment the same way I started it. We kind of anticipated that this was going to be the contract that we saw for Justin Jefferson. We all talked, man, I think he's going to get 35, and that was based off of what the second-tier guys were getting, 27. Because before the offseason, we thought it was around 30. That was the rumor. Jamar, Justin, they're going to get $30 million. And then all these random guys are getting 27, 28, and you're like, well, they deserve more than that. 35 seems like the number. It's just going to be interesting to see what the next evolution of roster construction. And really the question comes down to, how important is that position? How hard is it to replace that position? The reason quarterbacks get paid at such a high rate is because it's hard to replace that. When you have an elite quarterback, it's hard to replace that. The reason that interior linemen that pass that rush the passer get paid so much money is because it's hard to replace that. The reason that left tackles get paid so much money is because it's hard to replace that. The reason that running backs don't get as much money is because it's pretty easy to replace. The reason that safeties don't get paid as much money is because it's somewhat easy to replace that. At least you hope here in Cincinnati. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about what in the world is going on with Caitlin Clark. That and more when we come back on 1410 Wing AM. Yeah, let's do ad reads. First ad reads on a Monday. On a Monday.
whoop, whoop.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Whoop.
All right. Encore Technologies. They provide IT solutions for a data-centered world with a suite of services from mobile computing, desktop to data center, supporting both centralized and work-from-home computing modules to improve efficiency and
Productivity.
that's right, Jimmy. Productivity.
Jimothy.
What? Visit encore.tech. The path to innovation begins here. And let me tell you about this lovely bottle of water right here. It's Pawnee water, made right here in Hamilton, Ohio. It uses natural limestone filtration, unlike the artificial processing that other brands use. The result is a healthy alkaline water, and some say the best tasting water in the world.
That's right.
Visit Pawnee Water at PAHHNIwater.com to see where you can buy this great tasting water. And then our last ad of the day, the Game Time app. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code OTB for $20 off your first purchase. Again, terms apply. Create an account and redeem code OTB for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. You got games like the Reds games going on through the rest of the season. Cubs, I think they play on Thursday.
Thursday, it's four-game
in
series.
Cincinnati,
Thursday,
it's
Sunday,
a 4-game series. You got other stuff like Niall Horn coming into town. That's on the 25th.
Wow.
Let's see here.
Wife's
Bryson
dragging it
Tiller.
Let's go.
Bryson Tiller is on the 22nd. Hootie and the Blowfish. That's this Friday.
They're back?
They're back.
Hootie's
apparently.
back?
Hootie.
Hootie's
that?
back?
I love me some Hootie and the Blowfish.
Yeah, and much, much more. Check out the Game Time app. I used it not too long ago. It has just 2 simple clicks, and you get your tickets. You get to see exactly where you're sitting at, and it's not like a fake picture. It's like actual picture of the stadium to see exactly where you're sitting at. I love it. Game Time app.
Yeah,
Download today.
2 things it shows you. It shows you exactly where you're sitting, and it shows you exactly how much money you're spending. Upfront pricing shows you where you're at. It's a great app. I've told the story before. I walked in the year that the Bengals made the Super Bowl. Walking into the stadium, found out one of my friends didn't have a ticket. We looked on the Game Time app. We found one for, and I'm not kidding, because it was at Game Time, $15. $15 for the season opener against the Vikings. Game that the Cincinnati Bengals won. There's this quarterback that threw a game-winning pass to C.J. Uzomah. His name's Joe Burrow. And then Evan McPherson hit the game-winning kick. It was a fun game. We've got an announcement after the show. It's just going to be about what we're doing this week. It's exciting. I think you guys are really going to enjoy that. We still have some details to iron out on our behalf about it, which will come after the show. But I think you guys are going to be pretty excited about where we're doing that. So, any other housekeeping things before we go? The Reds play tonight, right?
8:40.
8:40. They're out in Colorado, where they never win.
right.
Where they
Never
win.
win on the West.
I think
Never win
Ellie's
in
going to hit a homer.
What's
Huh?
that?
Ellie's going to hit a homer in Colorado. I think so.
In
That'd be
Colorado.
nice.
So you're just whole series 1 home run? Or are you saying
He's going to hit one.
tonight?
I don't know about tonight.
So let's
He
let's
said
have
2 in the month of May, right?
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
1
One.
in the month of May.
1 in the month.
None in June.
Do they count
Genius.
in the park home runs as a home
Yeah,
run?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. Well,
I think he's got
that can
2,
happen.
right? He's got 2 of them. No? Or just 1? Just
Two
the
what?
one.
I think just
Inside the park
well,
home
him,
runs.
and him and Stu both have 1. I think it was just
Okay,
one,
so that's what it was.
Yeah.
There's been 2 hit this year.
2 by the Reds.
2.
I mean, everyone
Exciting
knows.
playing baseball.
They all know the ball carries in Colorado. And
That's true.
Now that everyone's starting to panic about Elly De La Cruz, I think he's gonna get one out.
So
like that.
Colorado's the biggest field, I'm pretty sure, in terms of like actual size. Like that down the line, it's like 345, and it's pretty deep to the gaps and stuff like that. But the ball still carries. I wonder if the high school fields in Colorado judge for that because they know that the air's thinner, so the ball goes further. It's always interesting if you played summer baseball, going around to like different parts of the country and playing on high school fields, how much different. Like if you go down to Tennessee, all the fields are tiny. Like they're like 305 down the lines, 350 to dead center. And that's
Really?
Yeah, tiny.
Interesting.
fields. You go to like Knoxville and Nashville, and then you like here everything's 330, 370 to center, 400 to center field. Like, I wonder if the fields are bigger in Colorado. All right, yeah, Casey.
Just some other housekeeping things. Those of you that are watching, please drop a like. We really appreciate that. Helps us grow in the algorithm. We're sitting at 39. If we can get to like 60 likes, what do you want to do at 60 likes, Reed?
Maybe make an announcement tomorrow.
Maybe make an announcement tomorrow. Box lunch quiplash.
If we get to 75 likes, we will do box lunch free, and we will do quiplash for the members.
That sounds
after
good.
that.
That
So
sounds good.
We'll just throw that out. 75 likes though. We got to get there. Get there. We'll have a free box lunch.
And on top of that, become a member while you're at it. Really appreciate that. Look at all the videos that we're posting just about every day that's not related to the show. Leave a comment there. Watch that. Like that. Me and Jimmy did a reaction to college football gameplay.
Yeah, we did.
Made
It's good
the
stuff.
announcement there that we were going to do a college football league. I don't know what that looks like at the moment. We're still trying to hammer out the details for that, but we are going to do that here at Chatterbox. So be looking forward to that. And yeah, that's all I got for housekeeping items.
All right. So we got to go back to Radio Land.
That's right.
We're in internet limbo right now.
That's right.
We got to go back to Radio Land, where Elliot used to work. Used to work at Radio Land.
People forget about that.
People do forget about that.
I don't.
That's why we
forget.
remind him.
What goes out first, Radio Land or Newspaper Land, where I worked?
My grandparents have I was at my grandparents' house yesterday. They have a newspaper. They still get the actual print newspaper.
When at the Great
And-
American Brass Band Festival, there was this old guy. Orchestras played at like 9 in the morning. This guy just popped his lawn chair and was reading the Danville whatever Gazette.
Really?
And I was just like, man, what a time! What a time!
I would imagine the Danville paper is still thriving.
How many?
Seems
what-
like a
what do you
town
think-
who reads the paper.
So, when you work at a newspaper, you get a subscription to the Associated Press, and you can just pull stories and stuff like that. When I worked at Van Wert Times Bulletin, I mean, half of our paper was just stories that none of us wrote. I mean, just ripped it right from national news. And I would love to know the staff size for the Danville Gazette, whatever it is, because at the Van Wert Times Bulletin, and when I worked there 5 years ago, I think they've since downgraded their staff. There was 2 writers, 2 full-time writers, 1 half-time writer, and like 2 salespeople. So 5 people worked at a newspaper, and then they had the print shop people, which I don't know how many people worked there. I never saw the print shop, but beside the point. All right, 5 seconds of silence. And we are back on Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers here on 1410 Wing AM. Reed Mouse, not the host, but I guess I'm the one on the point guard. But that'll change soon. We won't announce that. We might just do that. We might just randomly.
I see a chair here. Did this just come in?
That came in last week.
Came in during your little vacation.
Okay, yeah, my vacation.
Yeah,
In your time off, your PTO, we were in here putting together the studio.
Yeah.
So this is that. We'll tell you more about that on the internet version of the show. As if you're listening to this on radio, we go live on YouTube every single day, 10 a to 12 p. You guys are listening to the recording of that. Feel free to come on in. Go on YouTube, search Chatterbox Sports, and join the chat. It's a lot of fun. But the big thing that everyone's talking about in the world of sports, and it might be the first time that it has become the forefront of the sporting world, is the WNBA and what in the world is going on. They are bullying the poor girl, Caitlin Clark. We're seeing clips come left and right. Indiana Fever getting sick of it. Shout out to Caitlin Clark. She's holding her chin up, head held high. Here's my opinion on what's going on, and I would like to hear your guys'. That I pray that she can physically take it, because it is good for the WNBA for this to happen. And what's happening to Caitlin Clark, it's not good, but it's good for the league in that it is at the forefront of the news. We are talking about the WNBA. The plays, if you watch the WNBA, it's good basketball, and it's been that way for years. They didn't need a star like Caitlin Clark to improve the play of the game. What you needed is someone that'll bring eyeballs to it. She is selling out tickets. They are selling out arenas. They're having to change arenas for several games. And what good story is there without a villain? And that's what this whole thing is. There's a hero, there's a villain. And the fact that we are talking about it on a Monday here in Cincinnati, where we don't have a WNBA team, where we are seeing it at the forefront of leads on shows like SportsCenter, on all the talk radio shows, they're talking about the WNBA. They're selling tickets. And it's in great part because of the talent that is Caitlin Clark. And it is the response of the vitriol towards her because there is a spotlight. Yeah, is there a little bit of jealousy? Sure. But every good story needs a villain. And the more that this story unfolds, you will see more eyeballs shifted to the screen when the Indiana Fever are playing, and that's a good thing for the league. I pray she can endure it. Because at this point, it's getting us to talk about it. I don't know if you guys have an opinion on what's going on.
I think it's a little bit ironic because you're trying to push out a girl who, if you push her out, you go back to nothing. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but nobody's talking about the WNBA without Caitlin Clark, and that's a fact. Not one person. Literally zero people. Right. And I try to be as nice as I can about that, but that's a fact. It's June 3rd. We're not talking about the WNBA without Caitlin Clark, and that's a fact. And I think there are great the whole rookie class. We talked a little bit about it. Angel Reese. You got who's the Cameron Brink. Cameron Brink's another one. There's that whole class now that's kind of getting associated with Caitlin Clark. So now everybody's like, all right, this is the WNBA now. We know the names, and that's the biggest part. If you know the names, and you kind of did, Skylar Diggins. You knew a couple girls, in years past, but you were never interested to see the score. I look at the box score every night for the Fever. By the way, terrible. That team, terrible. I'm gonna. So, by the way, they lost 104-68 yesterday. Interesting enough, they've played 11 games already. Half the league's played 6. They've played 11 games. They lost to Liberty 104-68. Caitlin Clark 1 for 10 from the field. 3 turnovers. That brings her turnover mark to 49 for the year. 49 turnovers through 11 games. The Fever are 2-9. Terrible team. Horrible. Atrocious. Saying that, I still care what happens because of Caitlin Clark. So, yeah, I think I forget the girl's name who hip checked her.
Exactly.
And but I don't mean to be disrespectful when I say that. They asked her in the post-game presser, what are your thoughts? Why'd you do it? Yada, 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 Caitlin Clark. And she said, I'm not answering any Caitlin Clark questions. If I was the reporter, I would have, and again, you couldn't have because he would have been fired, but what else do you want me to ask? Because that's quite literally the only thing that anybody's paying attention to right now in the WNBA.
I think that's where a lot of the animosity comes from because, like you said, the game hasn't improved drastically. Elliot said she has almost 50 turnovers in the first 11 games, so she's not necessarily lighting the world on fire with her basketball play, and it is what everyone wants to talk about. So I think these players who have been playing in the WNBA forever have been playing a pretty good brand of basketball and are just now getting eyes on it because this college superstar who they're playing pretty good defense on, locking her down, getting in her head, stuff like that, she's the one getting all the attention over players who are playing better. I think that's where the animosity comes from. But look, if you're a player in the WNBA, you have to realize how much she's doing for the league, how much she's doing for you as an individual. I mean, you're on charter flights now. Yeah. Until this year, you were flying commercial. So I don't know whether these players want her out of the league or want her to shut up and just be a normal rookie and fly below the radar. I'm not sure what it is, but I think they need to realize how much she means to the WNBA and stop with the elbows, because if she gets hurt, if Caitlin Clark gets hurt and misses time because of a shoulder check into her back when she's waiting on an inbound, that's a massive problem for the WNBA.
So the reason we know Angel Reese's name, she's a phenomenal player. Truly is a phenomenal player. And then that's what I want to, as we kind of traverse through these opinions that we have on what's going on there, is I want to state that Caitlin Clark is not elevating the game that you're seeing in the WNBA. She's not making that sport in terms of the actual basketball. Not that she's not elevating it to a whole nother level. The basketball has been very good. We just haven't had a reason to watch. Caitlin Clark now gives us a reason to watch. The reason we know Angel Reese's name is because she was a foil for the superstar that was Caitlin Clark. As I've said before, every good story needs a villain. Caitlin Clark's the hero. The WNBA is creating themselves a villain. I'm not asking them to lean in to being a full WWE-style product. But the reason that we are watching WNBA games, the reason that you're getting clips of what's going on in the WNBA sent to your Twitter feed, your Instagram, your TikTok feed, is because of Caitlin Clark and what is happening to her. I pray that she can continue to endure it. And no, I don't want her to get thrown down on the hardwood every single game just to sell some tickets. No. But the way that they are responding to the superstar joining the league is creating a bit of animosity. It's creating a reason to watch. They're selling out tickets. They're selling stadiums because of Caitlin Clark. And now we're talking about it because of the answer. These are good. It's good for the sport as long as she can endure it.
Do you think there's a part of her that says, please go ahead and try to hurt me? I dare you. Let's see where the league is when I leave. Do you think do you think she does that? Do you think that's a part of it, or no? Not at all.
Do you think her ego is now getting in the way?
Because if I were her, I would let it get in my way. Because do you think people are watching this without me?
Oh, if I were her, I would not have played the next game after that game against this guy. Yeah. I would sit out for a week or two and be like, you guys really want to flex your muscles on me? She could show this league how much she means to it if she just sits out for a week. Twist an ankle, pull a hamstring.
But she's got to let it know that she's not playing, because they'll sell tickets for the Fever. Right. But she'll just come out and be like, I am not playing this Wednesday.
That's the other thing about Caitlin Clark. We talk about the flight schedule changing. These teams are playing in arenas they've never played in before because of 2 and 15 Indiana Fever teams coming to town.
Yeah.
The the Los Angeles team that Cameron Brink plays on. Forgive me, I forget their name, but they played in a warehouse.
The Spark?
The Sparks, yes.
Yes.
They play in a warehouse with bad lighting. If you watch the highlights from their games,
They
there's
have
shadows on the
shadows.
court.
They have shadows.
Their game against the 2-15 Fever next week is in Crypto.com Arena. So
Fully lit.
Changing,
Correct.
yeah, well lit. She's changing the day-to-day lives for every single player in the league. She's growing it to levels we've never seen before. Reed and I are in the hotel in Danville, Kentucky, scrolling through the channels. We throw on the Fever game. We
watched it.
want to see what's going on.
And we were amazed by how many people were there.
They sold out Gainbridge Fieldhouse, it looked like,
Right.
on TV, which is where the Pacers play, which they've never played at before this year, except for one-off games in the middle of their schedule. So what she's doing for the league, even if she's not playing at such a high level, cannot be overstated. Some people want to call her overrated because, maybe she's not putting up great numbers. When you have this much of an impact off the court, it's impossible for you to be overrated.
She does have to play better, though, somewhat soon. 1 in
Yeah.
10 from the field ain't cutting it, CC.
She needs to score more.
She's still distantly the best rookie statistically.
Okay.
But-
well, she needs to
I think
play better.
I think another part of it too, and Spirit Cat put it in there. There was no off season. Would she have a
Right.
month after the
she didn't have much
college
of a break.
season before she had to go into
The
professional
draft
basketball?
was the following week.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. So that's another part of it. Like I don't like you can say like yeah you have to be better, but this is like preseason for her, and this is their 15 games into a regular season.
And it's like her popularity is not new whatsoever. Like
Been,
the-
3 years probably now.
right.
Going
And
on.
then the women's national championship game this year between Iowa and South Carolina had more viewers than the men's. Like
I think it had more viewers than World Series and
Yeah. Well,
like the NBA Finals.
They had-
and it was she's a generational. She's the most popular women's basketball player since Cheryl Miller.
yeah, and they got
Probably
blown out.
40 years now.
And they got blown out. And people were watching too because of her, and they wanted to see Iowa win. A team like that South Carolina team was stacked,
Right.
and it was pretty much just against Caitlin Clark, and they had 18.9 million viewers versus the men's national championship had 14.8, and
Right.
that was between a dominant UConn team and a very, very good Purdue team.
That's a 33% difference.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a 33% increase. And I will say this towards the women that are, for lack of a better term, getting jealous. For the same thing that you guys said, like Caitlin Clark, does she realize, like, what if she just walks on the field and like, oh, we'll see how you guys do without. If I'm putting myself in the shoes of the top stars of the WNBA, and I'm balling, right? I'm a top 5 player in the WNBA, and Caitlin Clark is struggling. She's right in the league. All the things you said, she's going to struggle when she joins the league, and she might have the best numbers statistically, but 1 from 10 from the field ain't cutting it, kid. I would be jealous.
Yeah.
Like, I understand the feelings that the women that have already established themselves in the league are feeling. I understand that. Like, if I'm putting up 30 points a night, if I'm putting up MVP numbers, I don't know what the MVP numbers are in the WNBA, but if I'm putting those numbers up, yeah, I would feel jealous. Why is everyone talking about Caitlin Clark? I'm balling. I get that. And maybe it's hard to quantify why Caitlin Clark is as popular as she is. In essence, it is. Like, she is the greatest women's basketball player to go through the college ranks. We know this. She single-handedly brought an Iowa team that, when they played the national championship, you scout out the 10 starters, 6 through 10 are on Iowa's floor. Right? No one else would have started on that floor besides Caitlin Clark. But it is, I also understand where those girls are. They going about it the right way now? Is pushing her down, shoving her down the way to go about it? No. But it's kind of good for the sport.
It is.
Every hero needs a villain.
I was looking for a Caitlin Clark jersey, and I found one of those offshore websites. Tremendous value. 25 cents I found one for.
What?
25. Now, it's $20 shipping, but 25 cents the actual jersey.
It's the opposite of what they normally do. You ever like bought something online and you're like, well, this is $20 with $7 of shipping.
Yeah.
But this is $30 with free shipping. Like, somehow your brain just goes, well, there's no shipping. I don't have to pay for the actual product. I just pay for the actual product. It's a reverse that.
That's right.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk more about what's going on in the world of sports. That's what we do here on Off the Bench. We're presented by United Dairy Farmers. We'll be right back on 1410 Wing AM. And we are back here. Final segment of the show here on 1410 Wing AM United. Dairy Farmers sponsors this show. We have a lot of good sponsors. This is Off the Bench. We are Chatterbox Sports. Come in and join us every single day, 10 a to 12 p. On YouTube. Just search Chatterbox Sports Off the Bench. You'll see us at the top. Get in the chat. We've got 100 plus in here, just chatting it up. Chat. I think they like the chat more than they like the show.
I think they do too. By the way, if you're listening in your car radio, thank you very much for listening as well. If you'd like to talk to the chat, there's some great people. Shout out to, let's do a quick shout out. Justin Edgel, Haro, Mark Fetters. He's always fun to talk to. We got PB's Ghost in the chat. Sean Connors in the chat. Cincy B, Lance George, RM. These are some legends of the chat. Come in and talk to him. Brian B is a light. Is a nice light to talk to. He's always bringing that energy. Come talk to Brian B in the chat. And that's what you got. You can keep listening on the radio, or you can come join us in the YouTube chat. Whatever you want.
Yeah, thanks. But Brian B, I think we soured Brian B last year.
Brian B's out.
Well, Brian B was truly what he was a delight. And then I no-showed Chatterbox Reds when the Cubs got swept in Wrigley Field last year. Yeah. And ever since then, he's been on my case. And golly, I just need the Cubs to beat the Reds one time, please.
And Blackmore, shut up, Blackmore.
It's crazy how a team that's 4.5 hours away ruins my day sometimes. It's just crazy. A little baseball team that no one else in my life cares about.
Were you got the benefit of the doubt? I mean, I know you had to work, and that's unfortunate. But you had the benefit of the doubt of not really having to suffer through those games. I guess that's kind of a good thing, right?
So
we were dialed.
Friday night we were watching.
You did watch Friday night.
Friday we watched. Saturday we were lucky because it got so delayed that we could listen to it on the ride home. I actually listen to more Cubs games than I watch. I listen to Pat Hughes all the time. Normally out doing something, so I just put in AirPods and I listen to the games. And Jacob sees me fist pumping and yelling at the screen when Luke Little comes into a tie game, comes in on a tie game. And you're like, Luke Little? What? Golly. And then yesterday I was out cutting grass and I listened to the entire game. Did not watch yesterday's game.
It was a fun series.
Listen, it was fun. It's not about the wins and the losses.
No.
What is it about, Elliot?
It's about the friends you make along the way.
That's right.
That's what it's always going to be about.
And I didn't make many friends.
No.
I don't make many friends in the Reds community.
I thought the bit where your friend put the L on your house, that was very good.
One of the best, and an even better bit by Reed's wife to leave it up while he was out of town.
4 in the morning, I got home on Sunday morning, Saturday night, and I didn't even say hello to my dogs. They're jumping on me. I walked straight to the front porch, took the flag. I just threw it down because they had won. Like I didn't want to bring it in. It was wet. It had been raining. I just threw it down. I was like, all right, we're not doing this anymore. And I put it back up because they lost again. Shout out to my friend
Man of the
Cracky.
people.
He's Jimmy's the bit king. Jimmy holds on to a 12-game win streak. Jacob Hurtabees, all the bits. My friend Cracky, he no one does a bit like him. And him going out and buying an L flag just in spite of me. He's not even a Reds fan. That's the best part. That's the best part. He's a Pirates fan. And oh well. So 17 of the next 25 games are against NL division rivals.
That's correct.
You got 4 against the Cubs. You got 3 against the Brewers. And you got 6 against the Pirates. Actually, you got then a 4-game series against the Cardinals. That'll take you through the end of June. So June's just the National League Central sprinkled in with the Ohio Cup, going out to Colorado and playing Boston. Do you anticipate, based off the way that they've played over the past 2 weeks, and they have played, that's the win streak counter, thanks for flashing it up there on the screen, just one.
I had to put it up. I noticed you hadn't done it yet.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. That must have
Should we
slipped
throw out
my
the other
mind.
one? Should we throw out the other one
It
too?
must have slipped my mind. Do you anticipate the Reds will catch up any ground?
Yeah, I do. I don't think 3 of the 5 NL Central teams or anything to write home about, and I think you can make up ground there. I think the Cubs are right now struggling mightily. They're just as bad offensively as the Reds as of late. Specifically, the Pirates' offense is nothing to write home about. The Cardinals are playing the best baseball in the division, I think, right now.
Well, the Brewers
the Brewers are
at this current second, probably.
Brewers have won 5 in a row, but
Either way, saying all that, I do think, I think it's time for the Reds to make up some ground. I think it's going to be a lot of low-scoring games, and that means a lot of winnable games. It's just who can deliver the big hit more consistently, and that has been an issue with the Reds this season, as Casey has pointed out multiple times. And I think that's fair gripe. The Reds have had opportunities late in games with runners in scoring position, and it seems like they've been unable to capitalize. I think that will start to turn around starting this series in Colorado. I think you're going to see a different version of the Reds, some more clutch hitting. I think it's still the same team. I don't think they're great, but I think they're going to fight through it, and I think you're going to see that in the field.
It is an interesting because I think expectations are so important to how you view your sports teams, right? I had more fun the year that the Bengals went to the Super Bowl than I think I will if they ever win it, because the expectations are different. That year, I mean, if we went 500, I would have been happy, and we win the division, go win 3 playoff games, 2 playoff games, whatever, road playoff games, and you go to the Super Bowl. I had more fun that year than I think I'll ever will be. And the expectations of this Reds team going into the year were to win the division. Then all the injuries happen, and you're like, all right, what's this team at? And then they start playing bad, and now the expectations are pretty much like, can they just not be the worst team in National League? Can they just fight? Can they just be at least entertain me on a nightly basis? And I think that it's this month of June, regardless of what happens, where you're playing, 17 of 25 games against division rivals.
Yeah.
The expectations is, hey, we don't have to win. We don't have to go 11-6 against division rivals. If they do, that's dandy. That's incredible. But can you just compete? Can you give me something to watch? Can you get me into July still holding out some hope that this team can make somewhat of a run? We've seen teams do more with less before. The 2019 Washington Nationals, who I know they had a pretty good roster in hindsight, but they were, 19-25 at the end of May, and they turned out to be the best team, won the World Series. Last year, my Cubs were 10 games under 500 middle of June, and they were in a playoff spot, 95% odds to make the postseason. Obviously didn't do it. Shout out to Asea drop that you guys love to talk about.
This is where, by the way, and I don't mean to cut in, this is where I kind of disagree with you. We can point out the Nationals team. This current iteration of the
they're not that good, right?
This isn't a playoff team.
Okay.
We can go back and forth. They have a playoff caliber pitching staff. That's
what I'm saying. Is the expectations aren't to make the postseason.
They were coming into the year.
Correct, but now they have shifted to where you just want to watch them compete.
Sure.
You're not even getting overly excited when you sweep the Dodgers and take a series against the Cubs, because you still see the product on the field isn't what you expected it to be. You still see the product on the field isn't 86, 87 win team that, hey, maybe they can get in the postseason and shock a few teams. That's not the expectations. You're just along for the ride. Can this team continue to win games? Can this team continue to get you through your days and not ruin your evenings? Can that team? That's the point I was making, is that the expectations have changed.
That's fair. I don't expect anything from them anymore. I tune in and I watch for Elly De La Cruz. I watch for the pitching staff, and that's pretty much it. I don't mean to be disrespectful when I say that. And when Noel V. Marte comes back, I'll have something else to watch. I love our Juice Boy. But until that happens, I think, how many games away are we from 81? We're at, how many now? We're at, quick math, we're at 59 games, so we're almost there. We got the month of June here.
Yep,
and then
27th, I believe.
So big. So Noel V. Marte will come back, and maybe that'll be a spark.
He's not going to come back right away, though, right?
Reed said that to me, and I said, look, he can get those at-bats he needs to get back up to full speed in the MLB.
It's not he comes back and they're just like, all right, you're playing.
At third every day starting game 82. I don't know.
Wasn't Fernando Tatis able to play a couple games in AAA first?
I was going to say, like,
but before the suspension.
Noel is playing right now at the complex.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's
So
swinging at the complex.
He's just playing the extended spring
You can't play affiliated games yet. So it's just it's the 3 single A, double A, triple A are the only 3 he can't have association with.
So he's playing extended spring.
He's taking at bats. So maybe a week, less than a week.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he needs a full month, but I feel like you're gonna see at least a week or two.
Also, those steroids, he can't be that tired. I mean, he's got to be full speed, ready to go right away. I mean, he's just coming off the juice.
Well, it's gonna be weird for him swinging the bat with that, you know.
That's true. Yeah,
Now-
well, looser back. You never know.
If in his half a season of play, if he hits 25 home runs and bats 320, are you gonna ask for some players more to get juiced up?
Oh,
just
yeah.
say like, oh
absolutely.
yeah, we'll take half a season of you. Go get some, go take some steroids. Go get ready to rock. We'll see you in June.
Kirby clears it up. He gets a 15-day rehab assignment before his
Okay, so
suspension.
yeah, he'll be
ends.
ready to
So
go.
he'll be ready to go game 82.
Okay. Yeah, he'll be ready to go.
When he's in that AAA lineup, I might be watching the bats over the Reds.
I think I will.
We'll see where we're at in a couple weeks here, but
Come on.
I love.
They just won a series against the Cubs.
Now I've watched the bats over the Reds many times in my life.
is the broadcast still terrible?
It's not great. With all due.
There's nothing better than watching like the minor league baseball games and the camera looks like it was shot on a camcorder.
Oh, it gets worse
Looks
and
like
worse
it was-
every year somehow.
It looked like it was shot on a Verizon Razor 3. Like someone just holding a phone out in center field and said, "This is how you're watching the lookouts today."
Our old friend Reds Daily, he posts out minor league content every single day, I think, and he'll post these highlights. And legitimately, we're in the year 2024. How does it look that bad still? It's incredible. It's incredible how little the MLB cares about their minor league system. Just put a camcorder out there. Best Buy, $30. Put it out in center field, and we'll
fair,
see.
no one's watching it.
No,
Hey, Kirby's watching.
but yeah, Kirby is
What do you
watching.
think the viewership numbers is on a Chattanooga Lookouts game?
I can't imagine very high.
Is
Like,
louder on the bump?
Yeah.
If
Higher
they
or
throw it
lower?
out on, if they throw it on YouTube, free for everyone to watch, how many concurrent viewers they're watching? Because
More or less than off the bench.
that was the number I was going to put it at. I was going to put it like I imagine it's like a D1 college baseball game, which will get a couple hundred viewers. I don't know. Maybe I'm underselling it. It is cool when I see the Reds highlights and I see them from the Dayton Dragons and a former Chatterbox broadcaster. I don't know if you guys know this. We used to do high school games. But a former Chatterbox broadcaster, Patrick Geshin's calling the games. And I'm like, oh, that's Patrick.
Yeah.
And I get to hear him, and I hear Patrick. He's got a very distinct voice. And you hear Patrick, and you go, oh, there it is. But the Dayton Dragons. Can you listen to them on 1410? Are there games on our station? That I do not know. That I don't know.
No idea.
But that does it for us here on 1410 Wing AM. Kenner and Kev coming up after this edition of Off the Bench. So we thank you for listening. We'll see you guys tomorrow here on Off the Bench presented by United Dairy Farmers. 1410 Wing AM. Kenner and Kev coming up. All right, we're back. We are back. 11:42. I'm checking in on the likes that we said. We said if we get 75, we will go live on. We'll just do Off the Bench or Box Lunch, which I don't know from the non-members if you guys have seen Box Lunch recently, but not a whole lot of sports talk is talked about.
Good movie talk.
It's which by the way, I've got to talk about
Wreck-It
a movie that
Ralph.
I saw last night. It broke my after the Stars, after the Cubs series, after working. That movie I think broke me. How bad that movie was, and we'll talk about that on Box Lunch.
Coming to everyone's favorite streaming service, MGM Plus.
Oh.
They just keep pulling new streaming services.
When
I
did
don't
that
know.
launch?
No idea, but
As in BetMGM?
again, no idea. But MGM Plus is now the official streamer of said movie.
MGM was a movie studio first. It's the one with the lion,
Yes.
right? It's at the Roar, and there's nothing better than when you see that there used to be a meme or like a fake post, fake news that would go around about how they got that lion to roar, and it was like a picture of a lion being strapped down to a stretcher, and then that's how they did it. And I was like, I don't think that's how they did it. I think that lion's just at the vet. Like, I think that lion's just getting checked on an X-ray. That's not how they did it. But beside the point, man, the streaming services are getting crazy. Wait, I can't wait. It's so funny how now they're combining to basically make cable.
Oh
yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's just full circle. Bring it on back. We cut the cords to cut cost, and now it's becoming more costly. You're still a cable guy, no?
I am.
You're still a cable guy.
Yep. Well, my parents are.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
That's the
let's
big
be
thing.
clear.
That's the big thing.
If I moved out, I will not be a cable
No,
guy.
I'd be tube TV in a second.
Correct.
It's funny. I think Paul used to argue. He's like, I'll always be cable, and like I don't know many cable people that live on their own. It's always like the parents are like, they're just still locked into the cable. Then they go out and they're like, well, cable's gonna be like $60 more. I can just get YouTube TV, and you don't realize that after you have all the streaming services, it's pretty much equals out to the same price. But you gotta share. You gotta share that YouTube TV. That's what I do. I share it with a buddy. Send him a Venmo first of the month every month. Get half price on that. All right, we gave you guys an announcement, and there's still some details that we need to iron out. But the announcement is this: starting, we're gonna do a show live here in the studio tomorrow. Then right after the show is over, we're gonna pack up. And we're going to head up to Columbus, and from Wednesday to Friday, we will be doing live content. Tom's going to be there. We're going to be there. We're going to be doing live content from the Memorial Tournament. We got a little tent that's right off the putting green that we've seen. And once again, we're still ironing out all the details on our behalf about who's going to be on the show, what the time. It's going to be 10A. And we're going to try to give you content throughout the entire day. But we are going to be going live from the Memorial Tournament from Wednesday to Friday. So that's the big announcement. That's what we told you guys. So we're very excited to do that. It was kind of thrown up on us. Trace kind of brokered this deal, got this deal, and I don't think we were left in the dark because I don't even think he knew that he was going to make this happen. And then he's like, "Oh, we're going to go live." So we have a tent up at the Memorial. If you guys, anyone's going to the Memorial, come and visit us. We'd love to say hi. But yeah, we're going to go live from the Memorial. That's the big announcement. That's going to be Wednesday through Friday. We're going to be doing more content. We're going to do some after-hours stuff. And we're just going to be giving you guys a lot of content this week. Another content trip.
How about that?
Another content trip here on Chatterbox. We're batting 1,000.
That's what we do best.
Maybe this is what the Reds need.
The Reds.
To reverse the curse.
Reverse the curse.
Oh.
The Chatterbox curse.
Yeah.
This trip
Double
is
jeopardy.
We
reverse
shift
the
it.
curse.
We're not reversing the curse. We're just shifting it from the Reds to the PGA. Yeah. The PGA is going to be on an all-time bad bender.
They're bringing the Chargers back on Scotty.
They're going to get
It's
terrible.
all over.
No one's going to watch this tournament.
Nate does ask a good question. How is the Wi-Fi?
Well, brother,
We don't know yet.
I'd love to know.
We're going to need some Wi-Fi.
Trace was supposed to go look up there. Once again, we haven't talked about it a whole lot inside the studio. We just know we're doing this. It's going to be Wednesday, Friday. Listen, we'll figure out a way. We're not going to go 3 days without giving you guys, like, if it's breaky, we're not going to do content for you guys. So don't worry about that. We'll figure out ways. Don't worry about us.
Yes,
Elliot,
I will,
sure you
RM. Yes, I will.
There's stuff that's going to be happening that's outside the tournament too. The afternoons, like I think Chatterbox watch along, like the Reds watch
Wednesdays,
along.
one of the days we're going to watch the game. Like the Cubs obviously play the Reds this weekend. We'll be up there for the end of this series against the Rockies, although those are going to be all night games except for is Wednesday a day game? Wednesday would have to be a day game, but it'll probably be played at like 3 because they're playing a mountain time out there in Colorado. But yeah, we're very, very excited. What did you do to Mouse Cop?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's gone super sour on me. Very sour. I think I made like one little dig at Xavier like months ago, and he's just been on this tear of calling me a terrorist and all these other things. And I don't know. I love him.
Are you a terrorist?
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not.
Are you sure?
I'm glad you got
I
that
believe in ELE.
out.
Everyone love everyone,
Everybody.
including you, Mouse Cop. I love you.
Did FCC play this weekend?
No.
No.
Probably
They're
they're
on
in a
break.
month. They got a month off.
They're on break.
Month
Yeah,
hiatus?
keep
No.
the legs fresh, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, it's the Copa, right? Isn't there like a
Yeah,
big
it's something.
They-
They make up
Excuse
whatever
me?
they want to get a break.
I found out that FC's break has nothing to do with anything. This is just the scheduling of the MLS. There's going to be games that happen in the MLS this weekend, but the FC just get a
Nice little break.
18-day break. Or
Every
something
time
like
I learn more about this league, Casey. Every time I learn
Hey,
more
they're
about
giving
this, they
their-
never cease to amaze
that.
me.
They're giving their players plenty of rest.
That's an
for the
American
Reds.
sports league who cares about player safety right there.
Yeah, it
Absolutely.
is.
Nice change of pace.
Rest is important in soccer. It really is. I say that not being facetious at all. There's a reason, like in high school, they only play like 10 games. It's because it takes a lot of energy. You run
run
like
a lot.
7-8 miles
Yeah.
in a match, running up and down. I don't want to do that. That's always fun when
why I play sport.
have you guys ever seen that graphic about like how much you run over a sports game? Like, and it'll be like soccer, they run 7-8 miles over the course of a 90-minute match, 80-minute match. Basketball, you're running 3 miles or something like that, 1.5 miles. It'll be like baseball, 600 feet. Like you run 600 feet over the course of a baseball game. Football, I mean, how much are you running if you're a lineman?
Yeah, you're smashing your
Couple
head
yards.
into someone else's head.
A yard of play, yard of play. So 3 feet of play.
You don't want to run too far too, otherwise you'll get penalized.
Right, that's right. You can't go too far forward. It's always funny when you see that graphic. It's just baseball right at the bottom. Like they ran 300 feet. Get 3 at bats of 90 feet. They got to go chase after 3 balls. They ran 500 feet or whatever.
Unless you're Elly De La Cruz and strike out 4 times in a game, then you're probably not running very far.
Luke Maley, who strikes out quite a bit. Luke Maley, who
right.
strikes out a bit and is a catcher, isn't running very far. He's pretty much
Yeah.
staying put. Or a first baseman. Not
Mike
running
Ford
very
didn't
far.
run very far.
What?
Mike Ford never ran very far.
No, but he,
Couldn't run.
yeah, but you felt it when he ran. You could feel the vibrations. I loved Mike Ford. The Mike Ford experience will be one I will never forget.
You said
ever.
that past tense. I still have love for Mike Ford.
Yeah, I get
I still
it.
feel him too. I mean, he's
Absolutely.
When we finally get a whiteboard that just I really would love a whiteboard that we just craft all the takes on Reds Twitter for that day. So like May 17th, Reds Twitter needs Mike Ford or the season's dead. I would call it the Mike Ford board, the Ford board, because that's what gave me the ideas. We need Mike Ford. Sam Moll going down is going to ruin the season. Turned out that it was pretty smart move.
Mike Ford on the cork board.
The Mike Ford cork board.
Yeah.
Ford cork board. No, the cork board was for who was figuring out who Sean Connor is. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're past that.
No, because we already know who it is.
He's a 40-year-old sports fan from Indiana.
That's right.
Found Chatterbox Sports last summer.
Sure.
Yeah.
Have you guys been to the memorial?
No.
I've never been to a golf event other than my brother's. My brother plays.
I've never been either. I've been to the Ryder Cup, but I've never been to the memorial. I've never been to the memorial.
He said I've never been to a major.
No,
event.
I
He's
didn't
like,
say that. I
went to the
didn't say that.
Ryder
I didn't say that. I said I've never been to the memorial.
I'm most excited to get one of those PGA polos that everyone gets.
Jacob
Well, I
talked
bet
about
it
it.
is.
They don't have polos?
PGA polo be PGA. It'll have memorial polos.
Well, it's the same thing. Okay, whatever.
I gotcha.
It'd
Is
be a
it the
cool
same
golf
thing?
polo.
It's not. Yeah. No, memorial's big time. It's-
Jacob likes himself some polos.
That's what I told Reed. I said as soon as we got the text, we were going up to the memorial. I said, "Ooh, that's a $130 trip because that's going to be a polo and a quarter zip at least."
Are you gonna have, like,
I can't believe what merch tent sells at a PGA.
Yeah.
Like when Paul went to the Masters and he spent like
yeah.
$600 or something like that. I was like,
That was
crazy.
wild.
That is crazy.
Oh yeah.
Insane.
the Masters hats, though, I would buy every single
Sharp.
one.
I
would buy every single one.
I've seen many Masters gear, everything online. I want it real bad. Stolen Valor, can't do it. I need to go to Augusta
Gotta
before
go.
I can wear any Masters gear, and I give people a hard time. I'm not ashamed to ask them if they've been if I see some Masters gear out in public.
You didn't get any Great American Brass Band Festival gear.
You
talked about
I
it.
wanted to. I asked if we could get a giveaway shirt, get a staff shirt for working the event. That was a hard no. And dropping a bag at the Great American Brass Band
asked?
Festival.
Who'd you ask?
I asked the soundboard guy if I could get a pink staff shirt, and he said no. But yeah, I looked at the prices at the merch tent, and that wasn't what I was interested in. So
How many people showed up to that?
Because it rained.
Friday was a good crowd.
Friday, a couple thou. I would say like 1,000
For sure.
Probably on Friday, and on Saturday they said it rained, and the guy brought up about 10 times like if it wasn't raining, there'd be 6,000 to 7,000 people out there. It was like so. You guys haven't been to River's Edge here in Hamilton, but a couple thousand go to that. It was probably a similar crowd. It was a good crowd, and they came out at 9 a.m.
Ready to roll.
They stayed throughout the day,
Ready to roll.
just pulling right on up.
Wait, so why are there going to be no polos?
No, there'll be memorial polos. Just the PGA is PGA event. This isn't a major.
Oh, it's only for the
I
majors.
got you. Yeah.
Oh, that's disappointing.
They'll get some good. I trust Jack. I trust Jack's merch shop. will
Hopefully
be
they
good.
have cool hats.
Oh, they'll be good hats.
Okay, good.
There's always good hats.
I'm going to spend some money.
Big time hat guy over here as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. All right. We did get over 75, so we're going to have box lunch free.
I already made the live stream for it. So
Nice. Look at us.
We gotta tell-
Thank you guys for giving us
I'm gonna need a
75
minute.
likes.
We gotta tell Jeremiah no F-bombs then.
Yeah. Everyone also be prepared to explain why Wreck-It Ralph is a great movie.
Yes,
The original one.
Yeah,
Topic
you guys
of
are going to
conversation.
be thrown into the fire here.
Yeah, you guys, it's gonna be once again. It's just bull junk. No sports talk for the most part. It's a lot. I've really, golly, the movie that I watched yesterday was Challengers, and it broke me. I was so excited to see it.
I told you it wasn't great.
I didn't expect it to be bad though. It was bad. I didn't like it at all. I didn't enjoy it at all. But we'll get to that on Box Lunch. We'll get to that. So. I can't tell you how distraught I get when the Cubs lose to the Reds. Because I talk so much junk, and it's just not been good recently. It's not been good recently.
If the Cubs go, I forget how many games they play now. Is it 18 maybe against divisional teams? Anyway, if they go 0-18 or if 1-17 against the Reds this year, but they make the playoffs.
Played 12 games against the divisional rivals.
You only play 12?
Yeah, I think it's.
Is that right?
The four series. There's 4 series, whatever that.
Are you
is,
sure?
13.
Yeah, because you play everyone.
It used to be 16 or 18.
Okay, I thought it was 18.
But then now they changed the schedule to where you play every
Okay.
team in the MLB.
Yeah.
So now you only play 4.
So if they win one game against the Reds this season, but make the playoffs,
Oh, I'll take that.
You'll take that?
Yeah. 100%.
We'll take that too, baby.
we'll take it too.
Yeah, I'll take that. I need a playoff game. I was too young to go to the playoff games. I didn't have enough money to go to Wrigley Field. And maybe I still don't have enough money to go to Wrigley Field. But I was too young when they were making the postseason regularly. I was in college. And, I mean, my dad wasn't driving me up to Chicago. He could care less about the Cubs. So it would have to be on my own dime. And I just, when those tickets are $650 at Wrigley Field for the NLCS against the Dodgers, it wasn't happening. I just want to go to a game at Wrigley Field for a playoff game. It's not going well, man. And also me getting mad at me getting on Luke Brenneman's case about him saying that our lineup stinks, and then just turns out to be, I mean, just all-time bad take.
Ian Happ's been the best player over the past 2 weeks.
He's been our best hitter. It's Baseball Savant got me irrationally mad yesterday when I was looking at all their Christopher Morel's batting 198, and he's in the 90th percentile on barrel rate, hard hit percentage. He's low on whiff rate. It just doesn't. Baseball
Unlucky.
doesn't make any sense. Meanwhile, yesterday's game, you guys get 5 infield singles against us, and I'm just like, yeah, this sucks. But that's baseball. That's baseball, baby. That's what we get. That's what we get. Mark Fetters, quit holding Quiplash over our heads. Do we hold it over their heads?
No, they just wanted to play on Friday too, but we
I
didn't.
just wanted to play on Friday. We
Yeah.
just didn't have enough bodies for it. There literally was not enough to do a full
Well, we'll
game.
do it today.
Yeah.
We're doing it today for members only after box lunch.
After boxed.
So we're going to do box lunch.
We're a packed day on C-Box.
Oh, my
Sports.
God. The content
What
we're putting
a
out.
Monday. Holy cow.
It's putting it out. But I've got to use the restroom, so I'm going to end this show before we
right
do
behind
box
you,
lunch.
Reader.
We've got to make a run.
Can I hold you up for just a minute?
Yeah.
Today's a very special day for me. It's my wedding anniversary. And I just want to say shout out to my wife, Alexandra. Happy anniversary, babe.
Full rundown. How was the first year of marriage?
It was fantastic.
Rated out of 10.
What was it? An 8 out of 10? No, it was not an 8 out of 10. It was a 10 out of 10. It was fantastic. I couldn't have imagined it with anyone else. Couldn't have done it with anyone else.
Mouse Cop says selfish.
Do you have the cake? Did you save the cake?
Yeah, we did. I think it's at her mother's house, though. It's not with us, so we got
So
to
you
go
guys,
over
where are you
there.
going to get it today? You're going to have a little cake. The 1 year.
Is that a thing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you keep your cake
the-
for the year, and then you eat it at the 1 year
What?
anniversary.
Yeah.
You didn't know this?
No.
Yeah, you freeze
Yeah,
the
it's
cake.
usually not very good. That's what I've heard.
Okay.
So you're supposed to save a section of it, right?
Right,
Like if you've
the
got
top.
if you got a layered
Yeah.
cake, you save the small section of
Right.
it. And it was just like you. It was at my mother-in-law's house. She saved a 4-tier cake.
The whole thing.
And for our 1 year anniversary, I got us a hotel in downtown Cincinnati, and then we went to I think it was Soto, the Italian restaurant. Got us a reservation there, and that's what we did. And we got back, and I unveiled the 4-layer cake, and we ate literally a small piece of it, and threw the rest away. I was like, I'm not taking this 4-tiered cake back with us. But
Was
yeah,
it
it's a
good?
fun little tradition. It's a fun little tradition. I can't believe I'm coming up on 3 years.
Woo!
I can't.
Wow.
Can't believe it. Feels like it was yesterday. But all right, that does it for off the bench. We're gonna have box lunch for everyone, free for all. Come and join us. We'll talk about not sports. Jeremiah's gonna be in here, I believe. I saw him walking around. I haven't talked to him today, but he's gonna be in here. We're gonna take a short break. We gotta use the restroom. See you tomorrow on Off the Bench.